Well, we're talking about a really cold pattern as we head into the rest of this week and even into the weekend. In fact, when I looked at the next week, it looks like we're going to be unseasonably cold each and every day this week. And it's largely because we're going to see a northwesterly flow for the first part of this cold period and then a cold wedge for the weekend, which means winds in the opposite direction. But it is going to be quite cold for the week ahead, and our average should be around 57 and 39. Today, we were almost 20 degrees colder than we were yesterday. 49 degrees was our high. And low was pretty close to normal, though, 38 degrees. So overnight tonight, freezing temperatures, even a little colder on Thursday as the breezes will die down a bit. And breezes tend to mix the atmosphere and keep the temperatures a little bit more moderate overnight. We should be slightly colder on Thursday. And then cold and wet for the weekend and possibly a wintry mix across North Georgia. So this is what we are thinking for tomorrow morning. It is going to be cold, freezing or below all across North Georgia, including the metropolitan area. So down to freezing in Atlanta tomorrow. Heading into lunchtime, grab your coat. It'll be in the upper 30s. These are the temperatures. I'll show you in the wind chills in just a sec. And even throughout the afternoon, we're in the low 40s for much of the day. So winter coat time on your Wednesday. Let's talk about the winds and how that will affect how it feels to unprotected skin. So if you go out without a jacket, your kid has a t-shirt on, you're saying, hey, get back in here and get your coat on, because it's going to feel like we are in the low 20s tomorrow in Canton and Marietta. It's going to feel like it's 20 degrees when you step out the door. In Carrollton tomorrow, it's going to feel like 18 in Blairsville. Take you through the day. At lunchtime, it still feels like 21 degrees in Blairsville, and it feels like it's 28 in Carrollton. And in Atlanta at lunchtime, when the kids go out maybe for a little recess after lunch, it's going to be below freezing as far as that feels like temperature, that wind chill factor with those winds up around 20 miles per hour out of the northwest. And then as we head into tomorrow afternoon, it still feels pretty close to freezing even after school. And that sets the stage for possible wintry weather this weekend. We'll have the cold air entrenched here. First we have the polar plunge, and then we have a wedge set up, and that will keep us cold over the weekend and wet here. And to complicate things, we have a little area of low pressure we're expecting to develop and move along the Gulf Coast. If it stays further to the south, that will give us better chances for wintry weather here across Atlanta and across North Georgia. If it takes a more northeasterly track, that will keep us on the wet side. And it's a little too far out to say definitively. The models have been waffling back and forth, but we do think we're going to at least see some flakes flying up in the North Georgia mountains, and it'll be a very wet and cold weekend here. So cold and crisp the next couple of days with that polar air in place, and then cold and wet over the weekend. Really raw, that kind of weather where the air just goes right through you because it seems so humid and cold and damp. So we're looking at temperatures staying mainly in the low 40s, both for Saturday and Sunday, with the rain continuing on and off for much of the weekend. And then we'll be talking possible flurries at the beginning of next week. Stay tuned.